Oh, this is a hell of a building. It's called the Institute of Peace. So it's the government's, peace department. We got the War Department, the Defense Department over there. So this is the Peace Department. It's not quite as big as the Defense Department or the Pentagon, as they call it. But it's a cute building. I think it's very attractive. And it's only a block or so from the Abe Lincoln Memorial. If you see around here, okay, behind there is behind those trees is Lincoln sitting down on that big chair. So I'm sitting down on the wall in front of the Peace Museum. And really want to tell you about what I read today. Actually, there was a meeting yesterday on Capitol Hill, and the Secretary of Treasury went up to give they talk to Congress all the time. Congress writes the laws, and the executive branch, and these offices have to, carry them through. So that's what happened. So now with the PPP, that's that big loan program that ran out of money and now has extra money that they can't give away. Nobody's applying, all this stuff, and it is turning into a mess. But what the bigger mess now is that they can't see this PPP loan. You could write off all the money you spent on employees. So it was mainly for you to keep your employees on the payroll, and then you get forgiven. But you have to fill out a form after the end of 3 or 6 months or whatever it is about how you spent the money on your employees. Well, that's the problem now, is that there's millions and millions of applications that the SBA can't evaluate. So they're overwhelmed. They can't keep up with the paperwork. So now the trick, it seems to be, to get rid of all that paperwork, they just forgive all the loans. So they turn all these loans, which is, $500 billion, part of it was going to be written off and part of it was not. They turn it all into grants, and then you don't have to fill out the paperwork. Now, that's why it's the Keystone Cops running this place here. So that's why whenever anybody says, well, what's the law or what's the rules? Man, they're changing the rules every day. That's why if you want to apply to a program, don't even find out the rules. Just apply to the goddamn program, because they're going to change them anyway, and see what happens. The important thing is to get into the system. Now here's a report that was in the paper this morning. I'm an old guy, I still get papers. And it's easy for me to rip that off instead of trying to read on my cell phone something, okay? Treasury Secretary Stephen Munchkin, or whatever his name is, suggested Friday that the government should consider forgiving all taxpayer-backed small loans under the federal Paycheck Protection Program without verifying how the funds were used. A decision that could wipe away debt for millions of small businesses, but would also substantially increase the risk of fraud. You bet that's true. Okay, here it goes down in this article. It's unclear whether the secretary was referring to forgiving all loans under the PPP program or just a portion of it. And that portion would be smaller, because this thing goes up, I think, to $10 million. The smaller loans backed by SBA in regular reports are about the program are $50,000 or under, which make up 70% of the loans under the program. So I think if they say, okay, if you, we don't know for sure, we don't even know if they're going to do this, but it sounds like if you have a loan of $50,000 more, you may not have to pay any of it back. Okay. His remarks came as millions of small businesses are anxiously waiting word on whether the government subsidized loans will be forgiven. Banks have been asking government for clearer rules on how loan forgiveness will be handled. See, I get Let's Go Help members all the time. Well, where do I stand or whatever? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. The banks don't know. The people running the place don't know. Nobody knows. Okay. In just a few chaotic months after the coronavirus economic crisis set in, the SBA scaled up the process to process more small business assistance than in its entire 67-year history combined. Okay, you hear that? Combined. So they processed more loans in the last few months than in the total history of the SBA. Okay, you hear that again? That's why they're so screwed up, man. You can't do that. Yeah, it's gonna be screwed up. Okay. Now here's some other stuff in there. The PP loans can be as large as 10 million. See, that's what I thought, $10 million, and at 1% interest. That's why, man. And there is money in the PPP yet. There's actually money in the emergency, the EIDL also, but not grant money. Okay, so that's why people. But so it's probably wise if you have debt. You can get cheaper debt, use these loans, you're getting 1% and I think like 2 or 3% on the EIDL, and pay off your credit cards. Man, plus they'll probably change the rules so you don't have to pay back anything. The PPP loans can be as large as $10 million at 1%. The EID loans are capped at $150,000 and carry a 3.75% interest rate. Both programs offer significantly better terms than most businesses could find without government help. You're not going to get cheaper money anywhere. They'll charge you $7, $8, $10, $12 interest rates. So the credit card company charging you 15, 20% interest rates. It's crazy. The Washington Post is among the 11 news organizations suing the SBA for records about companies that received the loans from both programs. Actually, in traditional SBA loans, I had a list of everybody who got a loan. That's public information through the Freedom Information Act. And actually, even in filling out this form, the SBA has previously released data on small business loan programs and states on the PPP form that the data is subject to FOIA requests. Yes, I mean, that's been true all over the Congress. I mean, all over the government. If you get government money, everybody else has to know about it. This is called democracy. The SBA has faced harsh criticisms for the decision to quietly cap the amount of the EID loan at $150,000. I guess the EID used to be able to get more. Now it's only $150,000, a fraction of its previous maximum, to preserve the limited funds. The change was not communicated to borrowers until it was reported in the Washington Post. See, that's why you say, oh, what are the rules? No, the SBA doesn't know, people get money doesn't know, whatever. And that's why the funds are limited. So that's why, man, to me, figure it out. You don't have to accept the money. You apply, see if you're qualified for, because nobody knows ahead of time if you're not. Nobody knows ahead of time if you have to pay it back. Nobody knows. It's just crazy time. The SBA released detailed instructions June 16th showing how borrowers should petition their PPP lenders for loan forgiveness. So you go through a middleman, a financial for the PPP, a bank or somebody like that in the middle. And they, on the 16th of June, they showed you how to tell the borrowers to let them know how you spent all this money and you don't have to pay it back. But lenders have complained there is still a lack of clarity regarding the process lenders should follow. According to the memo, the SBA still had not provided a process or a porthole for expecting loan forgiveness applications from lenders as of Friday, yesterday. They still don't know what the hell they're doing. So your bank, who is the middleman, they don't know what they're doing. The SBA don't know what they haven't even set up until they sort of have vague stuff out there. So this is, I don't know if you're old enough to know with Keystone Cops. They were sort of like bungling policemen, Valquez, or whatever her name is, I think head of the SBA, also expressed concern that loan programs are not adequately targeted to small businesses, including minority-owned businesses. She noted, listen to this, now this is very important, at least to me, 770,000 sole proprietorships, just 3% of all sole proprietorships got a PPP. Okay, So you have 770,000 sole proprietorships got a PPP. I get so many people on Let's Go Help saying, hey, I don't have a business. Doesn't matter. See, even with the PPP, and it's true with the EIDL, you don't have to have a business. You don't have to have an EIN. You don't have to have a, incorporation. You don't have to have an LLC or some sole proprietorship. That's why you have a bank account. That's all under your name. That's a business. That's all you need. So that's why the stuff going out there is, it's dangerous times. Not dangerous. To me, it's fun. Nobody knows what the hell they're doing. If they've been doing this for 10 years, then there's a system. Everybody knows how to do it, and so it's all the insiders who figured it out. Man, jump in the water. It's crazy time. And start learning how to swim. That's why you'll be in 3 weeks or 3 months, man, you'll be an expert because you'll have 2 months of experience with this nonsense. That's going to give you expertise. That's where the opportunities are. Not when you're there 15 years doing stuff and you know all the ifs, ands, or buts and think, no, it's when there's chaos. Like my son joined a campaign. It was in the beginning. Nobody knew what the hell they were doing. And so if you're ambitious or clever enough, or at least half a brain, you can rise up quickly because with 2 weeks of experience, man, you're an expert. So get your ass in there and get 2 weeks of experience, and then you become an expert of this stuff because it ain't gonna stop. It's crazy time. And if you need help, don't forget, Let's Go Help, and that's letsgo.com. But with or without me, remember, this stuff is going to go on with or without me. I don't give out this money. I just tell you about it. And the government tells you about it, but you got to find it. It takes some work. Other places you go, call your elected official. They want to help you because they want to get elected, and that's how they get elected, is by doing you a favor. I'm going to charge you $20, and they'll do it for free. And sometimes I just tell you, call them. So have fun out there. Don't get bored. You can't get bored nowadays if you're doing something. So just get out there and do something.